Hello everybody and welcome back. What I got here is a yoke out of I believe it's a John Deere Forwarder. I'll see if I can find a picture and put it up here what it looks like. What has happened is, this is the yoke out of the Diff. The bearing collapsed and just minced up this seal surface. I've got the Diff housing on the floor. That's got to be machined and sleeved as well. I'm going to get a mate to do that. I could possibly do it with a 90-degree head and a 3-inch boring head to bore it out and sleeve it, but I haven't had enough experience with that head yet to know its limitations, and this probably isn't the job to be trying it out on. So what I've got to do is machine this surface here and then sleeve it back to 95mm. So to do that, I've machined up a plug to go in the back of it. Like that. Make up a fixture on the lathe to, well, as you can see, it's got the circle here. Machine up a fixture that this sits into, and then tailstock up its dot and basically friction turn it, which will be the go. For starters, I'm going to make the sleeve first, and then I'll machine this to suit the dimensions of the sleeve. It'll probably have about a 3mm wall. It's only a seal surface, it's not a bearing surface. So anyway, I'll show you this housing, and it's munted that up fairly well. But anyway, it's going to be I haven't done one of these or anything like this before, so it'll be interesting. Okay, so this is the Diff housing. That there is about it's about 125mm, and you can see it's pretty much munted. She made a mess. I would have liked to have had a crack at this, but I'm just not confident enough with setting it up and getting it right with that 90-degree head. Now in theory I possibly could mount it on the lathe and hang it off, or mount it on the mill and hang it off the side, but I don't have a big enough angle plate to do that either. So every sort of thought I had hasn't worked. So my mate's going to take care of this one and I'll take care of the pinion, the yoke. Okay, so I've got a lump of material here. Finished I mentioned will be 96 on the OD. 95 on the OD, sorry. So I'm going to turn it down to 96 and leave a bit on there for doing once it's onto the yoke. Then I can do the final pass, bring it to size. Got a fair bit to bore out. This is about 105mm at the moment. So I've got a lot of material to bore out to bring it to around, probably going to go about 88mm. And that'll give the sleeve a good side bore. It is getting late, it's about 7:20 at night, so I'll take this down to 100 and then that'll do tonight, and I'll come back tomorrow morning and finish it off. .99. Yeah, 96.96. I'm going to leave it at that for the night. And it doesn't matter if I leave that at that size, I can use that just under 2mm. Once it's pressed on or fitted, then I can turn that last bit off. Right, yeah, I'm just poking along here, just taking out the guts of this sleeve. And try not to be too noisy. It's only 6:30 in the morning. I've got a fair bit to come out of here, so I'm just going to poke along and get it done. Rightio, that's out to 86. Let that cool down a bit because it is fairly hot, and I'll start working on the fixture to hold the actual yoke. Okay, I've got a piece of, I think it's about 20mm plate here. This will be machined down so it fits inside this circle here. So I need to put a stem in it so I can hold the stem in the lathe, machine it down so it's all running concentric. Then this will sit over the front of it, and then it'll have a plug which I've already machined, and its dot which the tailstock will go up and hold it against, and pretty much be friction turned to turn the seal surface. So what I plan to do is to run this spade drill through here. I don't have flood coolant, just going to use cutting oil. I'm just going to see how it goes. Saw could turn pear-shaped. I'm a bit worried it might blow that insert, but we'll see what happens. Well, that worked, eh? And didn't blow the insert to bits, that's even better. I'll get that tool out and we'll have a look at that insert. That insert held up. I'm very surprised. I was expecting to blow that insert to pieces. But now I know I can use this on the mill. Good thing about it, that's a neat 30mm hole. I will measure it just for giggles. You can see that there. 30.03. Nothing wrong with that. No pilot hole, no nothing. Good thing. That just makes life easy. So what I've got to do now is finish that sleeve off and then machine a stem to fit into that. Weld the stem in there and then mount this up in the lathe and turn this to the correct dimension. I believe it's 165 I have to go to. That's about 175, 180 roughly at the moment. It's flame cut, so that's going to be exciting to get through, so fun times ahead. Okay, I'm going to go for the last pass. This will make it out to 87, which will give the sleeve a 4mm sidewall. 87.03, which is fine because I'll just machine this, the bloody, what do you call it? Machine the bloody yoke to suit. But that'll give it a 4mm sidewall, plenty of thickness. Just got to chamfer that edge and part it off. Get rid of that bore and bar and we'll slice her off. Well, that was painless, wasn't it? So it's going to get pushed on that way, obviously, so that's where that little lead in is. And that's about 1mm over length, so we can just rip that off once it's pushed on. A bit of a clean up here now, and then find a bit of material to make that stem out of, and get that done, get that welded in, and then start machining the outer down on that fixture. .0403. Just run a bit of emery on it, put a lead in, and that'll be a soft press fit. I'll go over to the press and I'll press that on. Beautiful. Weld around that now. Just with the TIG, I reckon. Okay, I've just been in and had a cup of coffee while this cooled down a bit. It's still hot, but just got to deal with it. I don't know what this is going to be like to machine, being a flame cut. It's just going to be slow, I think. Anyway, I'll take a couple of swipes off camera just to see how it's going to perform. We'll run from there. As you can see, it's going to take a while. Using a Pelpit WNMG for this. Once it's all gets smoothened up and no interrupted cut, then I'll go back to a T&MG, get a better finish. So that's at 177.1. We've got to be about 165, so I've got a fair bit to come off. Anyway, just keep moseying along. I'm not going to bore you guys with machining all that off, that's just nuts. 67.5. I'll leave it at that, and I'm going to face that front off, and I'll let it all cool down. This is at 165.3. Now I'm only going to turn a little bit in. Reason is, if I do overshoot it, I can machine this face back and then have another crack at it. So I reckon I've only got about 0.2 to come off, and I'll be there. That is that close to fitting. It's just going to be take a tiny bit at a time, because it's that hard to measure that flange. So I find it hard to measure and get a correct reading. We might nearly have it by the gonads now. That's it. I'll put the bung up its dot. I apologise about that. I wasn't even thinking of the camera. I was more fixed on seeing how it was going to fit up, but everything seems to be running beautifully. So now it's a matter of turning this back, and I really don't know how hard this is, but we're going to find out directly. Yep, that's pretty hard. I might change over. I've got a CBN insert. I might change over to that. I know the interrupted cut's not a good thing, but see if that'll get down under that hardened. It's probably work hardened a lot too. See if it'll get down under that. That's harder than the hobs of hell back here. Okay, I'll take a couple of more swipes with this CBN insert and see if it does. It's like, yeah, it's got to get under this work hardened stuff. Okay, I'm down to 89.5. And you can see that hardened section starting to disappear. It's been slow going up till now, but like another half a mil off there, and that may all, well, might be another mil, but it'll disappear. So I've got to go down to 87, or fraction above 87. Cutting absolutely beautiful now. So I'm going to get a good measure on this. Just going to turn the rest of it off camera and bring his back when I'm hopefully fitting the sleeve. This was already half hot. I'd already heated this up off camera a tiny bit. That is on. And that's stuck already. Thank God for that. I've been panicking over that, I tell you. Yeah, this is still 2 mil oversized. That's hot. Yeah, so I heated this up before I turned the camera on and just had it hang on that bit of wire on the side of the bench table. Threw a bit of Loctite on it, a bit of 601, and then thanks Dad, and then yeah, just put a bit more heat into it, and yeah, away we went. Anyway, that's done. I'll let that cool down and put it back up in the lathe and do the final pass on it, or a couple of final passes. I'm going to take 0.1 off this face where it's all marred up there with the CBN inserts, and yeah, it'll just clean all that up, and I'm not going to worry about taking any off this face here. That'll be fine. I'll get a measurement of that, set the DRO and knock it down to 95. .01. I'm not going to worry about 0.01. Okay, got to put a good chamfer on here, or a lead in for that, for the seal when the seal goes in on the seal. Okay, now I'll swap over back to that CBN insert. That's a nice little lead in on there too. Swap over to the CBN insert and just skim this face, get that mungly bouncy stuff off there. They're fairly deep, them gouges. I'm not going to try and chase them out. That's as hard as a hobs of hell, that stuff there. That's bad hard. Anyway, that's my bit done. That's it. All this can be taken out and the lathe cleaned up now. Well, there we go. That was a successful repair. This was a big learning curve. I'd never done any friction turning before, and like I'd seen it done heaps, but I'd never actually had a crack at it. So it works well. All the fixtures I make for different things I do, I always write on what they are, and I just stick them on the shelf. So one day if they need another one of these done, then I'm already halfway there. So this flange being as hard as it was to machine it down, that took for hours. Like, it probably didn't seem like it in the video, but it took hours. But it's done now, and I'm really happy with the way it ended up. So hopefully my mate can get that housing done pretty quick, and they can get this machine back to work. So they are running their spare forwarder at the moment until this one's back up and running, then they'll swap it back over. But yeah, they're pretty keen to get it going. Anyway, it was good to help them out, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So thanks for watching, and see you on the next one. Hooroo.
Yeah, I think he's heading up to the tank and